I thank you for the honor you have done me by presenting this address of welcome. Ever since I landed here this morning, I have been the recipient of kindness and good wishes all round. The streets through which I passed have been thronged with people on both sides, all expressing their greetings to the President of India. I am not vain enough to think that the great welcome is intended for me personally. It is really an expression of your joy at the attainment of freedom and of a status which enables the people of this country to elect one from amongst themselves as head of the state of this vast land. I have listened with great interest to the address in which you have spoken about the difficulties which you as a corporation are facing. I think the problems are the same all over the country. Our cities are growing beyond all recognition. Big cities have grown three times and sometimes four times their size. Even smaller places have, within the last 15 years, grown double or triple their old size. All these towns and cities provide amenities on the basis of population. Now that their population has become twice or four times of what it was, new problems naturally come up. These problems are arising at a time when our financial position is none too happy. You have therefore to work with patience and also to conserve your energy and all your resources and use them to the best possible advantage of the masses at large. I am glad to learn that you have taken up the work of slum clearance and have made much progress. I hope after some time you will be in a position to say that Madras is free from the ugly spots known as slums. Your demands for a reallocation of the sources of revenue, I am sure, will receive the best consideration from the authorities concerned. The Government of India naturally consider the report made by the committee which has been appointed by themselves. In reallocating the sources of revenue, they have also to take into consideration the demands of the states. As a matter of fact, one of the problems with which the government of India are faced is the problem of allocating the sources of revenue as between the states and themselves. We are, as you know, carrying on according to certain agreements which were made before we attained independence. Until better times come or until some other agreement is made, the existing arrangement has to be continued. I suppose the same is true with regard to municipal bodies, but I hope something will be done to enable the various institutions and departments which serve the people to have sufficient revenue for themselves. Apart from the questions which the corporation has to face at the present moment, we have to realize also that our independence is only about few years old and like all young plants, it has got to be nurtured with care and diligence. Our history has not been very happy in some respects. In spite of all the apparent differences, it is true that there has been a certain amount of unity in this country, and this is our cultural unity. It has survived all kinds of onslaughts, but we do not have the kind of political unity which we have today. Although due to the partition we have lost two wings in the northwest and the northeast, still the country as it is today is bigger than the India which at any time in its history was brought under the aegis of one rule. There were in India empires during the time of Hindu, Buddhist and Muslim rulers and also during the time of the English. But those empires did not cover as much area and as much population as does the Republic of India today. The constitution which we have framed with so much care and with so much labor governs not only that part of India which was formerly administered under the Government of India Act, but also that part of India which used to be under the rule of the Indian princess. This has been possible due to the patriotism of the princes and the statesmanship and far-sightedness of the leaders and also the people who have worked for unity. As I have said, we have an unhappy history in some respects. In the past, there were empires, but there was always a tendency, particularly in the outlying parts, to cut away from the center. Although there were empires and there were Chakravartis whose writ ran through the whole country, in a way there was never one government ruling over the entire country. Now one rule and one kind of law governs the whole land. We have therefore to guard against any repetition of what had happened in the past. The vociferous tendency to cut away from the center has to be checked somehow. Although the various states are being governed more or less in an autonomous fashion, the whole of the vast land must remain under one constitution. Any separatist tendency which may be visible today or which may not be visible today but may come up tomorrow has to be checked. For that purpose, we have to inculcate in the minds of the people at large the value of unity. Today, the world has become small in certain respects. On account of the advance of science, distance has practically been annihilated. It is becoming every day more and more difficult for small states to survive. We are all hoping that the time will come when conflicts between states will cease and we shall have one world. We in this country have to preserve our own identity. We can do so only if we keep this entire country together. Then alone shall we be able to demonstrate that strength which is necessary to keep this independence and keep in a position in which it will be able to protect itself and the people and help other countries as well in time of need. It is therefore necessary that we should realize the great value of political unity and preserve as best as we can. I am anxious that people should also realize their duty to maintain, protect and preserve the hard-won independence. That is the primary duty of every Indian today. We have undoubtedly had a great many problems during the last 3 years of our independence. It must be said to the credit of the various administrations in the center and the state that they have managed to survive many difficulties under which they might well have broken down. We have had innumerable difficulties, political, communal, social, and last but not least, financial and economic. Even today, we are facing a situation with regard to food, which is by no means an easy one and which in some respects is the most difficult. But let us have faith in ourselves, and let us hope that we shall be able to conquer the difficulties as quickly as possible as we have had done in the past.